Hey guys, what's up? Have you been trying to figure out where to live at Lake of the Ozarks? Well, in this video, I want to try to help connect the dots a little bit. I'm going to pull up a map of the area and talk about different parts of the lake, the amenities that they're close to, why you should live there, why you shouldn't live there. And so if you're trying to figure out the lake, you're trying to figure out where to live, hopefully this video is helpful. Let's check it out. All right, guys, so of course, one of the main questions that comes up is where should I live? Why should I live there? And that's probably relevant for any place that we want to move to. So no matter where we're moving, location is obviously probably the number one, or at least in the top three things that are of importance. And I wanted to try to help on this video a little bit because when you're looking at the lake from Google perspective, or you're just looking on the internet, it can kind of be deceiving. It doesn't look that big. It looks like it's easy to go from here to there, or it won't take me too long to go around to the top. And in reality, it's very difficult. Again, this is just a big ass lake in the middle of the mountains. And so a lot of hills, a lot of curvy roads, just to get from your property out to the main road could easily take, 15, 20 minutes. And that's before you even start to head into town or do certain things. And so the time and the distance from your home to where you need to be is probably longer than what you think. And so on this video, we'll pull up maps and we'll highlight and we'll circle certain areas. We'll talk about some of the amenities that it's close to, try to give you the best perspective we can. Of course, we always encourage you to just come down and take a visit, spend a weekend, drive around, let us help you navigate the lake and figure out the best locations. But we'll do the best that we can here. And, as we're talking through this, as I've mentioned plenty of times on these videos, I think this lake looks like an ancient Chinese dragon. And so I'm always referring to the head, the neck, the belly, the legs, the tail. And so we'll do that in this video as well. And really what I wanted to start is kind of the head, neck, belly area, the east side of the lake, also known as the St. Louis side. And there is an east, there is a west, there's a St. Louis, there's a Kansas City. And so that's kind of the perspective. But on the east side of the lake, you have Highway 54 that runs north and south. And that is a main artery that goes through this area. It goes all the way up to Jeff City, all the way down through Camdenton. And because it's a main artery and a main highway system, that's where you're going to have the majority of all of the retail buildup, right? So your grocery stores and hardware stores and gas stations, restaurants, you have the hospital and doctor's offices in that area. Osage Beach has K through 12 school district, and Osage and that area, upper area, is the heart of the lake. So that is the heart of this area. So that's where the congestion of retail stores is going to be. It's also going to be the congestion for tourism. Okay, so that is the popular destination to go. It's lakeside, Village of Four Seasons, Osage Beach, a lot of retail buildup, bars and restaurants, golf courses, things to do. So if you live in that area, you're choosing to live there because you need the ease and convenience of all of those amenities, right? And it'll be easy for you to get there. It won't take a lot of time, but also the understanding that that's where the tourism goes to, right? So there will be a lot of congestion in that area during peak season. And that congestion is going to clog up some of the restaurants. It's going to clog up the roadway. So you're going to have a busier Highway 54 in those areas. And so you might have to navigate that a little bit. It's also going to be very busy out on the waterways in that area too. So that upper lake area, kind of mile marker 1 through 20 something, 30 something, that is going to be kind of big water and choppy. And so if you're in that area, great, because you're going to be close to everything and you're going to have plenty of things to do and restaurants and bars to explore and state parks and golf courses. And it's not going to take you long to get anywhere. but you will struggle a little bit out on the roadways, and you certainly will struggle a little bit out on the water. You are going to need a boat that can handle a little bit of a bigger chop, right? This is a seawall lake. So as waves hit the side, they pretty much bounce off and roll back into the middle. That creates a lot of chop. That creates buildup of waves. And if you got a small boat, or you're trying to kayak or canoe or paddleboard, it's going to be very difficult if you're on the big water. You might hit a cove, and there's lots of coves up in that area too, but it's an understanding that big water, a lot of congestion, bigger waves, roads are busier. It'll clog up some of the restaurants because that's the tourism attraction up in that area. So pros and cons, if you got to be close to it, cool, you're super close. You might just have to navigate a little bit of the tourism traffic from peak season, Memorial Day to Labor Day. Off peak season, obviously it's a lot like a college town, right? All the tourism leaves, all of the kids go home, and you kind of feel like you might have that area to yourself a little bit. So as we stick to the east side of the lake, we're going to start to move our way down to kind of the leg area of the lake, and that's going to be the Lynn Creek and Camdenton area. And man, this area is starting to grow on me a lot. I think if I would have done more research before I made my purchase, I probably would land in this area because you almost have the best of both worlds. You're still kind of on the east southern side of the lake, so you're still close to a lot of amenities. So Camdenton is going to have everything you need, your grocery stores, your retail. It's going to have gas stations and restaurants and hardware stores. It'll have some doctor's offices. Camdenton also has school districts from K through 12, but you are just a little bit separated from the heart and the congestion of Osage Beach. Now, don't get me wrong, Camdenton roadways will still get busy. There is still tourism traffic that goes up and down Highway 54. So you'll still have to kind of deal with and navigate tourism during those peak seasons. But if you get into those leg area of the lake, you're going to have less of it. You're going to feel like you have a little bit more separation, even though you're a little bit closer to the amenities that you need. The waterways will be a little bit calmer and probably a little bit more conducive for, I don't know, like families like mine, right? I got 2 young kiddos, 4 and 6, and they like to go tubing, and I like to surf, and my wife likes to ski. And so you need to have a little bit of calmer water to do those things. So it's easier, right? You can get out early in the morning and go surfing. You can ski as the sun's going down. Obviously, kids can tube any time of day, but it's easier than being up in the congestion with big waves and big boats and stuff like that. You'll still have congestion. You'll still have, obviously, boats in that area, just not as many, and maybe a little bit more calmer, right? It's a little bit of separation from the chaos, but close enough to where you're not driving, an extra long distance to get to the amenities that you need. You can still get to a lot of the lakeside bars and restaurants from that area. It's not that far by boat. So a super cool, unique area. I think it's been hidden for a little bit, and it's starting to become very popular. Obviously, it'll probably get built up and maybe get a little bit more congested, but as of right now, sticking to that east southern side, Lynn Creek, Camdenton, close to all the amenities, a little bit of separation from the congestion. You have everything that you need, but a little bit of a calmer waterway, little bit of an isolation, but again, you still have all the amenities that you're looking for, school districts, hospitals, grocery stores, everything else. Still a great area to look at. Moving away from the east side and the hustle and bustle in the heart of the lake and the Camdenton, Osage kind of Highway 54 area, you start to move to the west side, the Kansas City side of the lake. And you have to have an understanding that there's only a couple of bridges that cross this lake. So if you're on the west side and you have to go over to Osage, or you need the hospitals, or you need something, you have a bridge that'll cross up towards the neck of the lake. And then you have a bridge towards the tail where you got to kind of come down and around through Camdenton to get back up Highway 54. So those are the only 2 areas where you cross the bridge. So if you're on this side, you just have to understand that to get to those areas, it is going to take you longer and it is going to be a commute. And so that could be a negative, but maybe it's a positive too, because on this side, it's going to be a little bit calmer, right? You're going to feel like you certainly have a distance between you and the chaos. If you're still up towards the neck area, so Sunrise Beach will kind of touch the neck of the lake, and then obviously it's more down towards the tail. So if you're up towards the neck, you're still going to have busier waterways. But if you're down towards the tail, it starts to calm down a little bit. So the west side is going to have maybe more of a local feel, a little bit of a distance between you and the congestion. There's still going to be grocery stores and restaurants and gas stations on that side. It's just going to be not as many, and you're going to have to go a little bit further if you need to get to them. And so as you start to move on the west side and further down the tail, you start to get more and more isolated from the things that you need. So if you're looking at the tail of the dragon, the tail kind of goes east and west. And so on that section of the tail, you kind of have a north and south part of the lake. And if you're on the north side of the lake, you're certainly going to be a little bit further from Osage Beach and a lot of the amenities. If you're on the south side of that tail, you do have a little bit of a closer access to Camdenton and some of the other things. But as you move further down the tail of the dragon, you certainly get further and further and further away from the amenities that you need. And so I've mentioned it before, that's kind of where we live. We're mile marker 42. And so if we have to go to the grocery store or we have to go into town, it is easily a 30 to 45 minute drive to get there. You have to do your business, and then it takes you 30 to 45 minutes to get back. And so not the easiest commute, right? Not the easiest way to get around the lake. However, you do have isolation from the congestion of tourism, right? Where we are allows you to do more of those boating things that we look to do, right? So the tubing and the wakeboarding, surfing and skiing, it's easier to do that down towards the tail of the dragon because there's obviously just not as much congestion. Again, flip side is it's going to take us a long time to get to Osage, and that drive can sometimes be daunting. So again, depends on who you are and what you're looking for, right? If you're living here full time, maybe you need to be a little bit closer. If you're just looking for a vacation home, a second home, and you just want to be on the water, maybe you want a little bit more isolation. All you have to do is pack your coolers and bring in as much as you possibly can to eliminate, as many trips into town as possible. But everything will have some pros and cons, and everything is obviously conducive to who you are and what you're looking for. But again, look at that map. Highway 54 that runs north and south on the east side of the lake, that is where all your retail buildup is going to be. That is where the congestion of tourism is going to be. That is the heart of the lake. And so being in that area, it is going to be easy to get to the amenities that you need, but you will certainly have to navigate the roads and navigate busier waterways, especially on weekends, especially on holiday weekends. During the week, clearly it calms down a little bit, but you are in the heart of the lake. You move down towards the legs of this lake, you still have easier access to those amenities. You're closer, but you have a little bit of a separation, a little bit calmer waterways, conducive for that boating life. Yeah, you're not super isolated like you are when you step on the west side of the lake and then you start to move down the tail of the dragon. And so the further away you get from that head, neck, belly area, the more isolated you're going to be, the more distance you're going to put between yourself. It's going to take you longer to get to the places that you need to get to. So wanted to try to pinpoint some of those things, put some things into perspective, because again, when you're looking at a map, it looks like it's closer than it really is. And I'm telling you, it's not. Just from your property to any of these main roads could easily take you 15 to 20 minutes. And then obviously you got your drive time from there. And so, highly encourage you to, come down, visit, check it out, spend a weekend. Obviously, I would love to have a phone call with you, do a Zoom call. We can pull up the map and I can show you different areas. And no different here than anywhere else, right? Location is super important for the lifestyle that you're trying to live and the amenities that you have to be close to. And so if we get you set up on a home search, we will eliminate certain sides or certain parts of the lake because we know that that's probably just not going to work for what you're looking for. And so let us help you navigate that for you. These videos are great, but obviously having those conversations and helping you connect the dots on where you should live at Lake of the Ozarks is what we love to do the most. And so reach out whenever you can, and however I can help you, I would love to do that. And until then, we'll see you guys on the next video.